Hi, everyone. This is another behind the scenes peek at how I put together content to capture people's attention and to get them to consume the content that I've created. So this post is currently called Food Network's Content Marketing Secret and the Secret You Need to Understand If Social Media is Failing You. Now, as I'm reading that out loud, I don't know if it flows the way that I want it to flow yet, but I may change that and keep tweaking the headline, because of course the headline is going to be the key to get people to read the post in the first place. And currently I'm starting out with the story of the podcast that I heard that revealed this big secret that the whole post is based off of. And it's all about the I Love Marketing podcast and how I heard the story. But once I'm done, once I've captured all of the thoughts that I want to put in this post, and as you can see, it's already 3,869 words, so it's a pretty long post. And I'm going to edit some of it down a little bit, but I'm also going to add, so who knows what it's going to be at the end. Once I put together all of the thoughts and have the flow, then I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to write an introduction to that story. And I'm going to use that as one other little piece of leverage to get people to read the post. It will show them why they should read the post. I came up with the idea for this post after listening to a podcast called I Love Marketing, which is done by Joe Polish and Dean Jackson. And they had a guest on there named Shep Gordon, and he told the story about the origin of Food Network that I had never heard. And when I heard the story, I realized content marketing was the secret behind Food Network's origin. It's how it began. It's why it began. And so that began the thought process. Okay, I need to write a post about this someday. After listening to that interview again, I listened to Shep, and that's where I got more ideas and more insights that I knew I could share in the context of a content marketing post. And I tell the story that he told in that podcast, the fact that there were no wealthy chefs before Food Network. And then I talk about his strategy, and this is where I realized that his strategy, after listening to it again, could be used and should be used by content marketers. And it's about what he calls delivery systems, and I explain what those are. And then I go into the reveal and I talk about how content marketing was secretly involved in the creation of Food Network. And I've got graphics and things. I've got, as you can see, I've got subheadings throughout the post to keep people reading. And then I brought together how this ties into content marketing and showed how content marketers are really in the same situation that chefs used to be in back before Food Network came into existence and became this platform for them to build an audience. And I do that by sharing a report from BuzzSumo called Content Trends 2018. And it's put together by Steve Rayson, and it reveals some pretty startling trends. And they all lead to the understanding that social media is becoming more and more ineffective. And so I show then, after I put that together, I tie it back to the content marketing lessons that we can learn from Shep Gordon and Food Network's secret content marketing strategy. And so I give some more information about how ineffective social media is these days, that for most people, the amount of backlinks they get is zero. That means nobody's responding, nobody's looking at the content that you are sharing on social media. And then I give them 3 ways to build their delivery systems to reach and expand out to an audience that they currently have or an audience that they don't have yet. And I give case studies, and I'm going to now tie it back together to the ending, to the conclusion, to what I want them to do about this, to what I encourage them to do about this, to help them to tap into this idea and expand on. This is actually a couple weeks after I first began writing this post. I decided to actually put together a free report about how to create valuable content, because the idea was really embedded in this post as I wrote it. And so I have taken, I think it's been 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half to write that report. And I've also continued to mold and shape this blog post. I'm proofreading it right now. I'm going to probably edit out some final things. But just to kind of show you what it is right now, I want to just take a few minutes to record this. So the content has now ended up being content marketing's secret role in the creation of Food Network and the strategy you need if social media is failing you. You know, as we all know, titles are very important. So I wanted to put something in that title that didn't just talk about, you know, the secret role that content marketing had in the creation of Food Network, but I wanted to also pull in people that were realizing social media is failing them. And I wanted to grab their attention, make them want to read this post. And so I've ended up writing this introduction before the story. And here's the subtitle: Food Network's Little Known Content Marketing Origin. And this is what it says. You're about to read a little known story that reveals how content marketing was secretly involved in the creation of Food Network. It's a really intriguing story that involves a powerful Hollywood agent and one of the co-creators of cable TV's 24-hour news industry. It's a story that will reveal to you how people in these positions think about content and audiences, but it will also reveal something much more important than that. If you're a content marketer or a company that is finding social media to be less and less effective, then pay very close attention, because I'm about to reveal to you a strategy to reach and expand your audience without relying solely on social media. If you're open to thinking about social media in a different way than the rest of the crowd, then keep reading. You're about to discover how to not be held captive by the social media treadmill, but to instead break free from it and make it serve you. And then that's when I go into that story that I originally started with, the podcast episode that revealed the big secret. And I talk about how I first came across this story listening to the I Love Marketing podcast by Joe Polish and Dean Jackson. And what I've really worked on a lot, besides editing out some things and adding new things that I didn't even plan at the beginning, is I've really worked at tying in these transitions. So like here at before this next section begins, I put, that is until Food Network and Shep Gordon got together and changed all that. And so that is to bring people into the next section. And I think that might have been that way when I first started recording this and first wrote this, but I really work on the transitions because that's key to keep people reading and to keep holding their attention. So again, here's another transition before I go into Shep Gordon's strategy. I wrote, pay close attention, because in just a little bit, you'll learn how this strategy could save you from being, and I have A instead of an on-call servant to social media. So again, I'm just trying to keep pulling them in, keep it intriguing, get people to continue to read. Let me give one more transition here. Right before this next section on how content marketing was secretly involved in the creation of the Food Network, I write, with that strategy in mind, Shep decided to take action.
And to do that, he decided to do what he always did. He tapped into his connections. So you see, I'm trying to make people so interested in what is happening that they have to keep reading. I haven't done it yet, but I'm also going to record this whole post in an audio format, and I'm going to also copy it and put it in a PDF file so that if people don't have the time to read this post, because it's very long, at this point, I think it's 5,000 words, then they can listen to it. Some people prefer to listen than to read, or they can sign up to download it and read it later in PDF format when they have the time. Let's see. I finally give the big reveal about how content marketing was involved with the creation of Food Network. And then, like I've talked about before, I pull in this whole idea of how content marketers are in a very similar situation to these chefs back before Food Network was created. And you can still see there's a lot of what I had there before. I have changed some of the subheadings because I've rewritten parts. I think this one might be new. The strategy every company and content marketer needs to learn from Shep Gordon. Then I expand on this. And then I flesh out the 3 ways to find or to build delivery systems to reach and expand your audience. So I'm going to finish up this post. I'm not going to go any further on it, but I hope it was helpful for you to see kind of behind the scenes of how I think about and how I put together content that captures people's attention and keeps people's attention and pulls them through to the end of a post or whatever I'm writing. So thanks for taking the time. Please share this video if you thought it was helpful, and make sure to read the post and download the report that I created on the 19 indisputable laws for creating highly valuable content. You can find it right there at this blog post, or you can go to createvaluablecontent.com. Thanks a lot. Bye.